Okay, and we are live. So, as always, we'll begin this session with a recap of what happened last time. When we last met, the team had started their day walking the cold streets of the rougher side of the mountains, following the lead of Brother Shenzi to an unknown location. The snowy scene providing a challenge for Signy, who was offered a warm coat by his brother in muscled arms, Harratuk. Before arriving at a seemingly mundane door, the team had seen shifting, shadowy figures as they moved between the crumbling structures. Once they had arrived, and with a few incantations and quick hand gestures, Shenzi opened a door into another world beneath the lively city. The deep, stone-walled, rope-lined, and rickety wooden path-laden structure was alive with floating flames and seedy deals, as the team descended a stalagmite staircase to what they had come to know as the Guild of Thieves. A stern warning from Shenzi gave the team some insight that keeping their swords close was a good idea, and that no favor went without incurring the debt of returning a favor. While in these deep caves, they were introduced to a gray-skinned elven woman with a bandana over her head, offering up hints towards their inquiry of Brother Lars. The elven woman asked the team to consider who it is who would gain from spreading such rumors about the various faiths, and who it might be that even they, the faithful, bow down to. A 25 gold piece hint got them a little closer to this quest, before the team was caught in the heat of battle with two massive escaped ogres with massive chain links for weapons. With good teamwork and precisely timed reactions, the team used a litany of offensive and defensive moves to claim victory over their aggressors. Signy unleashed his inner warlord to take Karl and Harratuk into battle with him, Karl unleashing all of his rage upon the beast to bring it to its knees for Alena to strike with her holy might, Angene blessing his friends and saving them from the heaviest blows they have yet seen, Harratuk charging into the scene and putting enemies into the perfect place for Erevan to silence the battlefield with two decisive blows from his ammo triad that was given to him by Cade, and almost taking out Alena and Signy with them. Once the chromatic smoke cleared the air, their friends were revived, and the deep and resounding whiff of Karl's miss free from their minds. The team resumes this episode in the rocky terrain of the Guild of Thieves. So as you guys are coming to Signy and Alena, you guys are helped off the floor by Harratuk and Angene respectively. And there was maybe a brief moment of quiet after the explosion had detonated, before you can start hearing dozens of voices continue to speak out. Other people, you can hear the exchanging of coin as people won and lost bets that was going on in the background. Other people sort of pointing and whispering to each other in your guys' direction before Shenzi and the elven woman return to you guys. And so Shenzi, he makes sure that you guys are okay first as he comes over. That was quite the display, like looking at Alena. Are you hot? Like, and also looking back at Erevan, like that dude's crazy. Are you injured?
A little bit.
A lot of bit.
Yeah, I definitely took a few more blows than I thought we would.
It was quite something to watch. You are much, much stronger than you look.
I've had a lot of fighting training, and I'm not sure about the others. Not the first fight we've been in together, but definitely one of the harder ones.
And Erevan walks over with like the biggest smile on his face as he flips his revolver around and holsters it, but he keeps
blowing
his hand.
The smoke off the tip.
Yeah. But he keeps his hand on it. He leans over to Alena again. I would keep my eyes on that one.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
You don't know?
No, there was an explosion. There's no way Erevan would have hurt us.
He still has that big smile. I'm afraid, my friend, that the explosion came from his weapon.
What? What do you mean? How did... I mean, his weapons have never exploded like that before.
I am not sure. But it is certainly something that, like looking around, I'm sure many people will question. Be careful once you return to the surface.
I'll keep that in mind, thank you.
Angene was up above before. Does he come down, or is he still like... Or no, I'm sorry. He helped Alena up.
Right.
And then he did go up to get his money.
Yeah. You lost 40 but gained 80.
Right.
Yep. And the elven woman comes over and she blows some smoke out before talking to Angene. Not bad. Puts it in her mouth. That thing you did before. And she pulls out this small piece of paper. It looks like it might be the corner of a page, and it's ripped off no more than 2 inches across. I think you've got the power to do it. Try it here.
Okay. What exactly do I do?
She was referencing to when... So before the fight had gone off, when Angene was mending the items, she's asking him to mend the paper.
Oh, okay. Alright. Yeah, that's a cantrip, that's right. Alright, so yeah, I cast mending.
Yeah, and Angene takes a moment to focus on the paper as very slowly, it almost seems to curl and unfold itself, this piece of paper returning to a single sheet. And you can see her eyes widen with delight as the cigarette actually falls from her mouth to the floor. And she, as soon as it's done, she snatches it out of your hands and reads it over furiously. She flips the paper over. It's just a joke.
Did I notice anything when the paper was unfurling? Did any words catch my attention?
The paper itself restored, but none of the wording did.
Ah, that makes sense.
She's looking at you.
That's the words that were written on it weren't part of the original piece of paper. That was something that was added onto it. I can only fix the item itself, it seems.
She squints, reaches down, picks up her cigarette, puts it back in her mouth. And she walks away from you guys. And Shenzi just kind of watches her walk off. I think our services with her may have concluded.
I think so too.
Do you have place to rest? Should I escort you out of here? You all look very bad, and the hurt lamb is an easy target for the wolf. You understand?
Oh yes. We've got a place to stay, so.
Perhaps it is better. Really, is there anything else you wish to look for while you are here?
Nothing at the moment.
No, I'm not sure how much we really gained from coming down here at this time.
And so, sort of, if you guys remember them... Sorry, it always takes my voice a while to warm up. If you guys remember from the battle map that you had seen, there was sort of a turn off behind where you guys were fighting the ogre. And you hear this sort of low grumbled voice, not call out, but respond. Sorry, God. I'd say you did just fine in terms of providing information. And so, walking out from the corner, you guys see an unusual individual, shall we say. So,
Can we tell what race it is?
in the chat, good question. His ears are not hidden or obscured. You can see from the image, and I'll put it up on Discord. So, right monitor, bang, boom.
Extremely anime.
So the individual who you guys are looking at, he has his hands clasped behind his back as he walks over, staring each of you down. You may think you have not found what you are looking for, but you have provided much information to those around you. And he is a very tall individual. The closer he gets, he's closer to Angene's height. And he circles around kind of your whole group, peering up and down, and John, while I'm describing, make a insight check. While he's going around, you don't seem to notice any weaponry on him. He has that very tight armor that is almost clinging to his skin.
16 on insight.
What was it?
16.
Ooh. I don't know if Signy would know exactly what it is, but I can say he is definitely not like elven or halfling. He appears humanoid, but something about he has somewhat distinct facial features. And to the rest of you, excuse me, you can almost see similar facial features between him, not exactly the same in terms of relation, but a little bit more diluted features than what siblings or cousins might share. He seems to have some similar features to both Delorian and Amaris. And he continues to walk around you before getting right up in Alena's grill. Where are you from?
And who are you that you'd like to know?
That's fine. And he'll step up to Angene. Who are you, son?
Oh, my name's Angene.
Excellent.
Artenskuld.
He'll walk up to Harratuk. Strange parts for a minotaur. Where are you from?
Yeah, I am staring him down and not responding.
You're smarter than you look. He keeps his eye on you as he walks over to Signy. You'll live. Where are you from?
Signy's gonna look over at Harratuk and see the expression and try to mimic it and not speak.
Clever girl.
Boy, but I get it. It's hard to tell sometimes as he flexes a little.
Yeah, it hurts to flex a little bit still.
Oh no, yeah, he's bloody.
He's a little bit more than bloody. Yeah. I'm curious. Is this the one who brought you down here? Looking over at Brother Shenzi. And he's like trying to not meet his eyes.
Can we tell if Shenzi recognizes this character?
I'll let you roll off that 16 insight. You get pretty strong vibes that it's more of an awareness than a personal relationship. He knows who he is.
That's what I mean. Like he's aware of who we're speaking to, not necessarily on like a personal level, but
Yeah.
Okay.
And he is actively trying to avoid the man's gaze. I'll take that as a yes. Let me ask you something. What is it that you need?
We need information on Brother Laws.
Information. What would you like to know?
Who's accusing the churches of misappropriating funds? Where's Brother Laws getting all of his? We assume his church, but we're not sure how yet.
Interesting questions. Let's make it a little bit more interesting. And you can see he sort of whips his hands around in the air and pulls up and catches a little sack. That information is worth a lot of money. And money is worth a lot. And he just dangles the sack out in front of Alena. 600 gold coins. Has your name on it. If you'd like it. I can
What's
give
the catch?
nothing until I need you.
Well, you have to give us at least something.
So you're
picking
willing-
flowers, or are we gonna be killing someone?
You're willing to give us this information and money for essentially nothing at the time?
Nothing. I didn't mean to drop it.
I grab it as it drops it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just go beat up a couple more ogres, if that suffices.
Oh, maybe one more max.
I think that was lucky. You may have been able to defeat these two, but had certain events not taken place, as he looks over to Angene. There are certain things that tip the scales in your favor. Do not rely on luck.
I think that was a lot of skill, not really luck.
That is
In
one
fact, I feel like I've gotten
perception.
stronger after that.
Not yet, you're not level 3 yet, technically. There are no more questions to be answered.
But I think there's still questions to be asked.
He just holds the money in front of Alena.
Well,
What is your choice, child?
what's your relationship with the guild?
Make a persuasion check.
Let me see here. Ooh, 9. No bueno.
Hi.
How unfortunate. I suppose I have what I need anyway. Good day. He will slowly turn around and begin walking away. Again, he still has his hands clasped behind his back before he drifts off beyond the corner and almost immediately...
I'll do it.
He stops. Turns around. Throws the sack towards Alena.
I catch it.
I
Or I
want
try to catch it. No, I don't catch it.
to. What was it? Or what did you do?
3. I rolled a 3 just to catch it.
It's a 3, whatever it is. Yeah, she kind of awkwardly hits her hand, like she grabs the bottom of it, and the top like slips down, and a number of gold coins fall, like, and you can see they're gold coins as they hit the ground and cling very loudly.
I'm just dropping and just trying to stop them all.
The rest of you now can hear the entire cave go very quiet.
Oh no.
And you can see about 100 pairs of eyeballs, some of which are plainly visible out in the open. Some were unseen previously in the shadows, but are the only things that glow from beyond the darkness. Even though you have dark vision.
Gonna unsheath my weapon and step in front.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand back to back with him.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I'm picking up all the coins and trying to put them back in.
Harratuk and Signy make intimidation checks.
Finally, something good. Okay.
19.
17.
Nice.
Pretty good, yeah. You saw a few people who were like stepping out of the shadows, look around and thinking twice and maybe stepping back as Alena stuffs them up real quick.
Well, I'm gonna secure it with the rest of my money.
Yeah.
For now. Well, we can split that later.
And as the figure dips beyond the shadows with this curling smile growing on his face, you can hear an audible "Oh no" from Shenzi. We must get out of here, and quickly. You don't know what you just did, child. So he let me ask, where would you guys like to go? Because you have a couple places you can go to.
I was thinking either back to Nero's or back to the tavern.
I would say the tavern.
Yeah. Distance-wise, the tavern's much closer.
Okay.
Tavern.
And
yeah, whichever's closer for sure.
Okay. So he guides you guys out.
And real quick, what did you say that guy looked like? He looked like a cross between who and who?
Something between
Lorian.
Yes, it was he had similar features as DeLorean and Amaris.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys have seen and they're almost features that, well, I'll leave it up to Signy if he brings that up. So as you guys begin to ascend the stalagmite, you still see a number of eyes watching your every step, every movement, mostly on Alena, but not all of them.
I'm not going to sheath my weapon until we're out.
And I'm going to try and look menacing.
How much health do you have?
17 currently.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I forgot you lay. I think you used your.
Yeah, I use lay on hands on
Okay.
myself and Signy at the end there.
Yeah, you guys look formidable.
Well, sorry, the 17 also includes however many I got from the level up.
Oh, do we add that? Because I wasn't sure if you add that with the level up or not.
I don't know how it's added exactly.
You guys are headed for a long rest, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much.
Because I think it technically I'd be like at 9 or something right now.
Okay. Yeah, kind of. Alena, she tries to flex like how Signy did earlier, and then she's like, "Okay, yep, I'm burned. I'm burned. Yep." And so, as far as you guys are aware, you're fairly certain that no one comes up to mess with you. As you guys re-ascend the stalagmite up the rickety wooden steps and exit through the same door that you had originally come through, as soon as you open the door, you are hit just with a blast of cold air. If you guys remember, it was considerably warmer immediately crossing that threshold into the cavern system. And as soon as the door opens, that wind and the snow that's coming down hits you immediately. It's also, it appears to be somewhere around maybe 9 or 10 o'clock. You're not sure how long you guys were down there. It didn't feel like as long as it didn't feel like for the length of time you were down there, it would have led to this period during the night. Shenzi looks around. Quickly, where are you staying?
The Valley Tavern.
Come with me. I need you guys to make stealth checks.
Ooh, fuck! I'm at disadvantage too.
Because of your armor?
Because of armor.
Same.
Yeah, no bueno.
Signy, what's that face?
3?
Oh boy. Harratuk?
15.
Okay. Angene?
Give me 1 second. Five.
Oh boy. Alena, what was yours?
5.
Oh yeah, man, you guys are
Worst.
you guys are
We're
noisy.
clanking.
Yeah. As
We're big boys.
Shenzi is leading the front, like looking back, like, I know you are hurt, but please try and suppress yourself. And then Angana, ching ching ching, okay, ching ching ching. And Harratuk actually just managing to finding some of the more packed areas of snow where it doesn't make a whole lot of noise upon crunching, despite his size. And Signy
I'm limping.
absolutely hitting every little slosh puddle that he can, slipping like numerous times and audibly if he hits the ground. Okay, perhaps speed may be our friend here. Since he does eventually get you guys to the Valley Tavern. Once you guys get inside, it is still the same the canyon with the rock structure, if you guys remember that description. It is that same form. There are a couple people. They appear to be pretty well intoxicated. And there are 3 people who appear to be about goddamn sloshed out of their minds. And there are 2 individuals who are across the room each. And they eye you guys the whole way over. As Shenzi, he nods over to the bartender, Afra. And she nods to him back. He opens the door and hurries you guys into a room. And he closes it behind you guys. He comes right up to Alena. What the hell were you thinking? What did I say?
I have a lot of brain damage from that fight. I was concussed real hard. I don't know. He had money.
What did I tell you when we first went in there? Sorry, give me 2 seconds.
No,
I don't know if you can hear the. I don't know if you can hear the baby.
In the...
Yes.
Be careful who we indent ourselves to.
I will be right back. I'm just gonna make sure that I close my door here. I don't know if you guys can hear a small child running around, but that needs to not be on stream.
And I believe he said we got 600 gold, so everyone's gonna get 100. I'll vocalize that with Joe when he gets back. We're in debt to a guy, yay!
It had to be like a leader of the guild, right? Like,
Oh yeah, probably.
Just wait, I forget what Joe said. Like, what race kind of was it that I could tell? Like, it was something like
Kind of
mixed?
humanoid. Yeah.
Look at this anime photo he got here.
She's getting big.
Look. Okay. So
Hold on.
I thought I had more time. So we're gonna take our 10-minute break.
Oh, she's getting so big.
You got a bear. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and I'll be back after I put this one to bed.
All right.
Can you say bye-bye,
Sounds good.
stream?
My dream.
It's,
been dispersed to those of us.
Nice.
So 102,
Okay.
everyone including Signy.
Nice friends. I apologize to the stream there for my quick departure. I normally try and time my breaks a little bit more carefully. But I hope the cuteness factor that was on stream for a little bit is suitable collateral. So, we had just left off where Brother Shenzi whisked our players off the streets and to the Volley Tavern where they are all sharing a room. And he is, while Alena is counting money and passing it out to everyone.
1, 2, 3.
He'll put his hand on the table over yours. What were you thinking?
I wasn't.
I
Who
understand.
was that guy?
I understand you are new here. But you need to listen when people give you advice. That was a man.
I mean, it feels like you gave me that advice 2 weeks ago.
I assure you it was hours ago. And I think even in the recap. But no. There are people here who can and will hurt you. And you just gave them an extra 600 reasons to do so.
Who was that man? I mean, he seemed very nice to give out money like that.
Yes. And now you owe him a very large return favor if you don't want to end up dead. And I want to be clear. I did not say debt. I said dead. D-E-D.
I thought he said.
Yes.
But who was that? You seem scared of him.
They are a very small and highly focused group. I've only seen some of them, but I know there are more. His name is Yokai. He's able to find people somehow. He always gets their voice.
What do you mean gets their voice?
I don't know exactly.
And so is he part of a sect of the Thieves Guild? Or is this something completely different?
There is no one sect or two or three. There are many and there are none. It is difficult to say. But they have a team of their own. And he looks at Harratuk. You were wise not to speak to him. And he looks at Signy. You are foolish.
What did I do?
You were reserved. And I thought maybe okay. And then you spoke. And
I didn't really speak to him. I spoke like in his presence.
You gave him your voice. And
It's a nice one.
And with that, he will be able to find you. And he points to Angene. And you. He points to Alena. And you.
I mean, hey, I'm working for these guys. I mean, pointing at Alena, she seems to be the one that's in the most doo-doo pile here, you know? She grabbed the sack, you know?
They know you are together.
Fair enough.
But then you... Honestly, Shenzi, I think this is a little bit on you. I mean, you were right there. You could have stopped me.
But then he
Yeah.
would have spoke.
Or he didn't have to speak. He could have, like, just held a hand, or... I don't know, covered my mouth. I don't know. I feel like this is on you here a little bit.
Is that so? He's not smiling. Fuck. Is that so?
I mean, you could have stopped us. Why didn't you? If this is so bad, we needed information. He was willing to give it to us.
Is that what you got out of the deal?
No, I actually just got money.
You got a lot more than money.
So what should we do then? We have the money. These guys could or could not kill us later.
Good.
We needed the money. We still need to figure out what Brother Laws is doing with the money other than buying a house. I'm sure he's got other ventures. We still don't know who's accusing. Well, I mean, someone is accusing your church of the same thing. Do you know who's accusing you?
No. I am not so prominent where I am that it greatly affects that what I do. But I do see the attack on spirituality as a whole as a bad thing. I worry where people might turn, if not to faith. Do they turn to the Thieves Guild, or do they turn to the party scene? None of which is good. And he's looking around very carefully through the room. Our sanctioned beliefs may not be perfect, but they do have hundreds of thousands of years of stories to tell, of lessons to teach, of morals to pass. I shudder to think what may take its place without proper consideration. Beyond that, I don't think you noticed when your hands were on the floor, looking at Alena, there were a number of rumors circulating the air as well. I'm gonna make a history check. See if you heard it. And your blur keeps obscuring your face.
I know, right? It doesn't work very well with monstrous forms.
Well, your paint's probably blocking the points that it uses to like recognize your face. I think it's
Right.
forehead, nose, and cheeks and jaw, I think, is what it focuses on.
You said history?
Yes.
It's a 13.
I'm gonna heard very vague bits of information between other groups that were speaking when he was going up to make the bet. He heard a little bit here about he heard the words kingdom over there. He heard citadel, but what they mean, where they are, he's not very sure. It may have escaped what you could hear in the time of battle. There is much conflict going on in the south, the far south. Do you know anything about the kingdom of Rashidi?
No.
No.
They have many refugees coming this way. And they may further still destabilize whatever it is we have. I worry that with how much is going on, with where you have placed yourselves, I don't know if focusing where you are focusing is the right way. The debt may be a bad thing, but maybe finding the source is better than finding outliers.
Are you suggesting we somehow track down Yokai and take him out, and whatever organization he works for within your guild?
You could... No, you would surely die. They have a signature. Somehow, I've never seen this before, other than them. They will have blades manifest themselves from nothing. But not... And he gestures to your physical weapons. Not steel. It is purple in its essence. It comes from nothing. And it does not leave a mark. You do not want to put yourselves against that. Or with it. As you have so done.
Signy perks up significantly at the speak of these weapons. He doesn't say anything, he just kind of like pays attention more.
But what does Yokai and his band of merry men have to do with these refugees? Are you saying they're just all being taken in and either killed or enslaved?
What they are going to... They're different entities. Part of a larger problem. I don't know what Yokai wants to do. I don't know why refugees are coming here as opposed to their closer neighbors. There is something greater amiss. I'm saying a lot of things. You need to be more careful, number one. I am not going to incur favors upon you, despite all the information I've provided to you. Though I should state, after I warned you, you need to be conscious of such things where around here, if people are doing many things for you with nothing in return, you will have to return that favor. And he looks at the gold pile again. I cannot help you with this.
I wasn't asking you to.
I'm just making it clear.
I mean, as far as I've seen so far, that's the best piece of information we've gotten all day.
Be careful. I have heard rumors of... There is you can tell he's starting to get frustrated. Are you aware of the university that is here?
Yes.
He looks at Signy like in surprise.
Signy's very aware.
Okay.
We've heard about it.
I'm kind of staying there for a little bit.
Are you a caster?
Oh no, I'm an outsider. I just needed a room.
I mean, we keep hearing things about the university and how great it is, but it kind of seems like it's the worst thing to happen to this city. At the same time, your wizards are controlling the weather, they're controlling things in the mines, and controlling your people.
They have a great deal of influence. But, and he gestures like downward and around actually where you guys are. They influence all aspects.
So do you think this yokai guy is related to the university, or?
No, I think... I have heard that there is someone there who can bind that of the arcane with the mundane. This is a very difficult thing to do. While we smuggle a great deal of items that are already magical, arcanic, to create them is a very intensive process. And there may be someone up there who we can find and establish a connection with to turn the tides in your favor. I have heard of... And he, Karl, Erevan, Harratuk... No, so only Alena and Angene. Maybe just Angene. I hate to meta. Does Alena have Spare the Dying?
I don't think I do.
Okay.
That'd be a spell, right?
Cantrip.
Yeah, no, I do not have Spare the Dying.
Okay. Did Signy use it last session? I don't.
My
Sorry. Angene. I'm thinking of the half-orcs.
You're trying to say we all look like?
No.
Thinking of what? Did I use?
Spare the Dying on anyone?
I do not have to Spare the Dying.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Okay, so neither of you have it.
No, I don't know if I can.
I think paladins can pick it up because it's a cleric spell list.
I'm looking that up right now.
It doesn't.
No, just says cleric class.
Okay.
Oh, really? It's cleric.
Yeah.
Even better. He gestures to Alena and Signy because he had seen you guys cast in the caves. There is a use of the arcanic energy that is able to spare one from death itself. I have heard that he has managed to somehow put this power in an item that was otherwise mundane. Those who are gifted in this way may or may not see the significance and the implication of this kind of power. But those who do not share its manipulation should think twice about what that can do in a battle, in a war, anything. It could change the tides.
So you see Signy's face drop, as it's similar to the face you saw while he was fighting. It seems like his battle instincts have kicked in, and he's thinking about those implications and what they could mean for him personally.
Does he say anything?
He asks, in a slightly different voice, do you have a name? Who did this?
Unfortunately for now, I only have rumors.
Okay, right when you said rumors, he turns to the rest of the group and says, this is worth looking into. And he seems to, like, again, kind of have his chest puffed out, similar to when he was in battle, and he used his ability to bring you with him. He's not using it right now, but he's kind of trying to persuade you to go to the university to find this source of this magic.
I think we should. I mean, to bring someone back. It's
Not someone. A whole army. All of your friends. All of your battle partners. Undying in battle.
Extremely valuable. Yeah. I think we should go check this out.
Takes
Do you
a
have
deep
any?
breath, and he lets his face fall back to like his silly self.
Do you know of anyone at the university we could start with?
I'm staying with a friend. He's not really part of the university, but he seems to know some people. His name's Calvin. He's the one who got us the room there. There's a couple of brothers that apparently were able to procure us a free room. He might know where to find them.
Be very, very careful. I will say this again and again. And he'll point to your various money piles. Don't let this happen again. Too much of yourselves being pulled in too many directions is death. This is one step closer to that. I am going to ask you do not see me again.
What if we're like walking down the street and you're right there? Like, should I not wave?
You will not see me.
You're gonna hide like behind a building? It's a little embarrassing in public.
It is better than I would rather be embarrassed than dead.
Sometimes could be, you're so embarrassed you feel like you're gonna die, and then you never know.
He has the weirdest look at you. Goodbye. Take care of yourselves.
I do want to thank you for your insight. On a serious note.
I hope it keeps you alive. He'll turn and exit the space. So it is just the four of you. Erevan and Karl are already conked out, so it is just the four of you in the space.
So really quick before we continue, Joe, do you know... Oh, we lost him.
Jake, no!
Would I know how to contact Calvin? Or would he just would I just like kind of go to our room, our shared room?
Signy has not seen, like, there are no like phone the university booths around the city. Yeah. You've seen most of the people are the people from there are sometimes intermixed in the city. Like, you get pretty strong not just kind of strong vibes, very obvious vibes from the two bartenders of the Volley Tavern, Afra and Isabella. I believe those are the most two prominent that you've met. So you, Signy knows that they can talk to each other somehow.
He's not technically a part of the university. I thought he was also a traveler like me. As far as I know, I don't want to
Calvin,
go any deeper than that.
Hey, let's roll for it, right? History check.
It's just a -1, so that's 14.
Oh, I thought the roll itself was a -1, and I was like, how the fuck?
That would be hysterical if I had a -2 and I rolled a 1. No.
You take memories from the people in the room. 14. Calvin was a strange individual. He had told you stories about his swampland homes, and Vinny, it looks like you're in witness protection when your face blurs. Like, we can't say who you are. He was from strange lands. I'll say you remember the name. From some city called Donengother. He'd refer to it as the City of Miracles, and he had a number of stories about where that name came from and why it was, but Signy, at the moment, is having a lot of trouble remembering much of those details at all. He has... Well, okay, so he connects the dots as he's thinking about it, that he had a weapon similar to what Erevan was carrying. Erevan, he has his is much smaller. It's more intricate. Apparently, it has unquestionable power in terms of what it can do. Because
I've never seen him use his weapon, so I don't know what kind of. I know it's odd, but now I'm
the
dot.
The small one hurts a lot.
Yeah, and I've seen that there's likely a bigger version of that.
Yeah, you don't recall him using any of the abilities that he had seen Alena use when she had healed herself a little bit, or Signy when Angene had used some of his power. He didn't see him use any of that, but the university was his deliberate destination.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew he also was able to procure us space there through people he knew. Yeah,
So
I'm gonna relay this to the group. This knowledge you've given me, and say I think it might be. If we can't find Calvin himself, we can at least head to my room there and maybe figure something out from there. I mean, it's tight, but we could probably fit all of us in, I think. And maybe we might get lucky and run into him and, talk to him about who he knows and what he's seen and if he knows anything about the university. He seemed very intent on coming to the university specifically, so...
Let's do it. I mean, other than... I'm not sure how far we can really get with the Lars stuff, and I know that yokai will probably come bite us in the ass later, but we should definitely check on this magic that Shenzi was speaking of.
I mean, it could also be all related to... I don't know much about this city or these people here, but magic, as far as the little understanding I have, and faith don't often mix.
I know what we're hearing as well.
Angene is, after receiving the 100 gold from Alena, is weighing his very heavy gold pouch and going, we should probably not have this much money on our persons. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm just nervous holding this because I could forget it. That's... Do you guys... We need to find a bank or something. Like, I don't feel...
We can give it all to Harratuk, because he's very obviously strong, and then if he gets attacked, we can just protect him.
Protect the bank.
We might be able to find, I don't know, some kind of bag that holds things infinitely. I wouldn't know what something like that would be called, but I don't know, with magic, some sort
Maybe the university has one.
yeah, I don't know, some sort of bag of holding or something. I don't know.
Angene is going to go up to one of the sisters.
Because he's going to leave the room.
Yeah, go back to the bar. And I'm going to go up to whichever one's closest.
Definitely Afra, the nice one.
Right. Excuse me, ma'am. Would you happen to know if there's any banks nearby that we might deposit some of our earnings as of late?
Of course, yes. This one is mostly. I can't remember if it's the weird one. But then again, we're all a little weird. Yes.
Oh, I agree with that. Yes.
Yes.
Weird's good.
I believe it's a universal bank, and she looks at you. Are you familiar with magic at all?
A little bit. It's very recent for me.
Okay, so this would be a lot less shocking for you to hear. Yes, wherever you go around the world, if you see their signs or their people or their namesake, they have one location. It'll always look the same, and there's always the same teller behind the bar.
Well, that's interesting and exciting, because that means I can use it at home or something.
Oh, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from a little town called Nekeb.
And you can see like her spirit leave her body as she's like, oh, I love Nekeb.
You've been there? That's awesome.
Such
You're one of the first people that I've met that has really been there and knows it.
I used to be a professor at the university. I had to travel around many places to learn what I could wherever I went.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she gestures to her wristbands and her like white belt that, or well, it's not white. They're actually constantly changing colors. This and she gestures. Nekeb is one of the places that inspired me to be the prismatic.
Oh, well, it is a very inspirational place.
Oh, the colors, the people, the music. It's wonderful.
It's all very beautiful. I miss it dearly.
Why did you leave?
Oh, I don't really know. I woke up one day and I wasn't home.
Oh.
Yeah. A little off-putting to me. I would imagine anybody else would be kind of weirded out by that statement, but no, I remember going to bed on the night of my birthday, and I woke up somewhere else, on the other side of the world, it seems.
Oh my. And you can see her like study you for a second. That's quite the tale.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't believe we have any quick transport there. I believe the trains go in that direction. But maybe not to the town. I don't remember.
Oh, no, I don't believe it did go to the town, because I don't recall ever seeing the tracks. But I did see at the transportation office along in town that there was a route that took relatively close.
Yes, I believe that one goes to Cardi?
Yes, I
don't know.
think you're right.
I'm surprised anything can make it that way. The way those brutes from Dragon's Vale, the way they treat our trains in the Borderlands, it's savage. It's what it is. It's savagery.
Yes.
But from what I recall, Nekeb, beautiful.
Yes. Well, Thank you very much for letting me know. Where pray tell, is the nearest bank?
I don't believe it's very far. Maybe a few blocks away towards the north, I think.
Oh.
They're very close. Trust me, there's always a bank by a bar.
Oh, well, that kind of makes sense. I get that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Good night.
Good night.
And I return back to them. Okay, guys. Yeah, there's banks. It's pretty cool, actually. There's like apparently one bank that you can go to in different places, and it's the same place. Kind of like how this place isn't really inside that small shack. You know what I mean?
Actually makes a lot of sense.
No, I have no idea what you mean.
Well, okay. You know how when we go through the door into this place, it looks like a dingy piece of crap? Right?
He looks around and goes, "It kind of is a dingy piece of crap, but
Well,
okay."
It's relatively speaking. Anyways, what I was trying to say is, and when you go out into the bar, it looks like you're out in the middle of a beautiful field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed
Well,
that.
yes.
Hard to miss.
So if you imagine a place that when you walk through the door, it's somewhere different than you would expect to be on the inside.
So every time you walk through the door, no matter where the door is, you go to the same place.
Yes, that's exactly it.
That sounds fake.
Oh, I would imagine I would have to report back on whether or not it is reputable, but
Yeah, so if we give them our money, it won't be stolen?
I mean, does any bank actually have rules against that? I think they do, but
Well, I'm saying, like, do we trust this bank?
why don't we ask people around? People who use the bank.
Why don't we ask DeLorean?
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Okay.
Alright, well,
I mean,
it's
I don't have a lot
getting
of money.
late. I'm just gonna go over here and into a trance.
You could sleep too if you want.
No, I don't sleep. I
Okay.
get enough sleep this way. 4 hours.
God.
I wish I would have clicked it.
I wish you just would stay there staring at the camera
Christian-
for like the next 15 minutes.
I love how everybody sees elves trancing in a different way, and it's the greatest fucking thing I think I've ever seen in D&D.
When he said trance, I was thinking like a meditation. So when you just started like eyes open, staring at the camera.
Dude, everybody's different. Like, in the other group,
Alena does not trance that way. I do want to make that clear.
I don't know, man. It was fake. In the other
Exactly.
group, Christian, he's also an elf, and he was like, he did something similar. He was like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed. This is so funny, dude. Like, everybody sees it different, and I'm so about it. But
Right.
Alena,
No, eyes are definitely closed when Elena's in
Yes.
trance.
Alena and Erevan, the both of them, you can see as they take whatever position is most comfortable for them, and their breathing slows and becomes more constant. Her eyes are closed, and it's almost an intense focus rather than a restful appearance. So to Signy, I can't remember if this is actually the first night you've been with it. I think it's the second, but I don't think you've been in this close quarters where you've actually had,
Yeah.
like, I don't really have anywhere to look but these, like, sleeping elves in front of me. Oh my, metal Angene. So Signy, Harratuk, and Angene remain awake.
Signy's gonna let the money conversation kind of peter out, and he's gonna find a bunk somewhere and just kind of he's gonna pull out like a really old beaten up journal. Just it's honestly just a few scratched pages, and he's going to just start writing about various things.
Sure. Angene, anything you'd like to do before the night closes?
Angene is just gonna kind of fill with his viola, just make sure that it's tuned, kind of just play a few notes. He's going to play a few notes and kind of like testing out songs, like the spells that he would be playing. So he might accidentally, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and say he accidentally casts a spell.
Ooh, okay. So, hold on. I'll take your level 3 spells, just why not?
Is it sleep?
I wish. Harratuk is so you got Signy and Harratuk can just hear him hitting those notes as he tuned his viol. They're coming out beautifully, and you can feel this energy moving in the air as he begins to play. As Harratuk feels, I think you cast it on him in the battle. Harratuk, you have heroism on you. Oh,
I feel suddenly brave. I shall face the nightmares with courage.
So,
I'll take first watch.
For the sake of things, Harratuk, you have 3 extra hit points, temporary hit points.
Wow.
It's like drinking 4 espressos. Wired all night.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah. But eventually, night comes, and each of you finds sleep. And as each of you level up, Alena, she begins her trance and can very, very softly hear the bing of Angene tuning his viol, and rough colors and shapes forming in her mind, small dots of white lining those colors and shapes before everything begins to solidify. And she is back on the mountainside, looking over the village on the bay. The night sky is overhead, the stars reflecting beautifully in the lake, overlooking the homes of the rich and the wealthy and the frivolous, the ones that she's always gazed at and marveled at, one of the few places she was allowed to. This time she's not alone. Scarlet's sitting next to her, looking like Scarlet, a face that she's missed more than she remembers. And she's just looking up at the night sky. She has her hands back in the grass. She's bruised and battered from the day's arena. And Alena's not sure if she can hear it or if it's just part of the dream, but as Angene's music plays into the night, it infects itself in her dream. And Scarlet, you can see her swaying, and she looks at you. Would you like to dance?
What?
She stands up, and she reaches her hand out to Alena.
I'll grab it.
And she pulls you up.
Slowly.
She pulls you up and pulls you relatively close. And you're robotic and rough and rigid, and you can see the enforcer in the background. He's leaning against a tree, rolling his eyes and looking elsewhere. But as Angene's music continues to fill the air, they dance together. And Alena, I won't give her any proficiency in dancing or anything like that, but the two eventually learn to move together. And as Alena almost thinks of I will say, this is the shorter Alena before her growth. Scarlet was a little bit taller. Alena thinks of resting her head, which becomes more and more weary. And as time progresses, she can see her armor coming to herself as they continue to dance into the night. And as she opens her eyes again, she's looking in the eyes of Melbourne, who has this sickly smile as now, whereas your hands were jointly together, he has her hand firmly grasped, and you are uncomfortably close. His hand is holding you to him, and you can see in the background the enforcer has changed. He is now in the form of the atrophic king. He extends his hand and points to you. Something about this. It's not to Lord Melbourne, it's to you. And you can feel this, you can feel strength returning to you. You're stronger now. You're bigger now. You've got better friends and more power. He gifts upon you extra abilities, and you are able to deftly take Lord Melbourne out of the picture. You are able to separate yourself, break your hand from his grip, and just with one mighty swoop, push him off the edge and down towards the village before Alena wakes up. It is morning, and your friends are waking up with you. Alena is level 3. Angene eventually tires. His calloused fingers a little sore after probably the most aggressive playing he's ever had to do, and in the heat of the moment when his friends all needed it. But eventually he too finds sleep. And in his dreams the stars realign themselves into the score that revealed itself many nights ago now. Weeks, months maybe. Has the score always been there? Or is it just now something he can see? He's not sure. But as he follows the notes along the sky, and he traces what he could remember, an additional part of the score that he had seen before, but he lost himself in its intricacy, is now something he can understand and perform. And something connects in his mind. A new constellation is illuminated in its pattern. The notes in this section, the way they move and stop and start again, they mimic speech. It's almost a conversation. And he can see numerous forms of these persuasive patterns. Parties, politics, coercion, seduction, deception, influence, explanation, etc., etc. The pen may be mightier than the sword, but what use is there a pen without words to write? Angene, as his dreams continue, wakes up in the morning. And his words have never been clear, not just in his own mind, but as he warms up with the day, with even speaking a few things here and there, he has never felt such clarity and concision in even the few things he has to say. Level 3 Bard. Harratuk. Oh, I'm sorry, Erevan. I'll do Erevan and Karl last. Harratuk. As night takes over your vision as well, after your heroic watch, a strong heartbeat pounds into his mind, loudly and consistently. The space is dark, and nothing here can be seen, but the air feels humid as it rushes past. The sound of 1,000 trees bending and billowing in harsh wind can be heard. As Harratuk rests in this open space, unable to find any form of coverage with his massive frame, a sound can be heard as the heartbeat ceases. Footsteps, stomping through the forest, shaking the leaves and rippling nearby puddles of water. What can be described as nothing else other than a great terror of darkness, a hulking frame that walks the land, stands at such a height that even Harratuk has to crane his neck to view the entire form. An unknown creature stands, breathing heavily, with menacing, glowing eyes that only match in illumination to the weapons that it wields. But not weapons in steel. Massive, drooling jaws and pointed teeth ready to snap. Claws that dangle with sharpness, resembling that of the sharpest blades Harratuk has ever seen. And behind it, curling through the air, with snake-like movement, this creature's elongated tail. A lashing, spiny tail. Harratuk, once he is able to control whatever it is he is feeling, this is perhaps what it feels like to be intimidated. He realizes something. And in a similar way to when he became a barbarian, this connection that's made in his mind that can't be forgotten, in some way, in some twisted, mysterious, inhuman way, he knows he is looking at himself. He looks up at this beast and their eyes meet. The creature releases this mighty and furious roar into the void of color that surrounds. Harratuk can feel intense hatred and emotion boiling over from within this creature, and it matches the budding energy he has only recently tapped into, and he understands that whatever this is, it lies within himself. He wakes up with a new understanding of what he only has recently discovered is freedom. With his own release, so too has he released this beast inside of him. Level 3. Signy. Signy, along with his friends, finds rest in the night. And, John, I'll ask you, would you see Signy as an avid dreamer, or...
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. So then it is no great shock to him that when his dreams return to him, they display themselves in colors and sounds, battles of years past, friends who have maybe survived, friends who maybe haven't. The weapon on prominent display. And Signy may not know what it looks like, but from what he understands what it could do, he envisions this mighty scepter or a sword scepter of some kind. Something that could turn the tide of a battle. Maybe one as grand as a war. 5 figures stand around him, and he recognizes them immediately. Revna, Estrid, Sif, Ulf, and Gorm. Each of them standing and watching him. He sees himself first as he did when he was home and training, a bit less muscular, a bit less defined, maybe a little awkward with weapons. And he is unsure why they are showing him this. He can see himself in his more primitive form, learning the weaponry, learning his form, learning his abilities. And a bit more becomes clear when they show him their pride, their astoundedness at what he did with these virtual strangers in a strange land. In the darkest caves Signy really has ever seen, with beasts as strange and as strong as he's ever seen, he didn't merely affect the battle. He completely changed the course. He added to their maneuvers on the battlefield. He gave them extra positioning. He gave them fortitude and power that even his ancestors are proud to see. Revna approaches. And I would say it's probably somewhat difficult for half of orcs to really get a wide smile, because they have much larger tusks than half orcs. They have much more defined features. But Signy, he knows what pride looks like, and he knows what it feels like. His family has never shunned that from him. Revna puts her hand on the back of your neck, and the two of you meet foreheads. A light flashes, and Signy understands the powers that he already knows can be magnified. The powers that they know can be magnified. And in a way similar to what he had seen his barbaric friends do, but he knows is different. He can further inspire them with a declaration, a roar of some kind, a war cry. And in a moment it's there, and in a moment they're gone. And then there is only the weapon. Signy wakes up, level 3. And so for Erevan and for Karl, Matt, I hope you're hanging around in the chat. I did see you a little bit, so I hope you're around. Erevan finds sleep in the night and immediately is put back on the battlefield. Not the one that they had just seen, although maybe for a moment. He was there with his friends, and the blast, the devastation that erupted from the barrel of his gun puts him back in the swamplands of the fields where he was first learning his weapon of choice. The special ammo from Cade burned in his vision, and mixing with the memories of the day, he's not sure what was original there and what was original back then, but somehow they're fusing together. And he's beginning to understand he's still not everything he wants to be. But he's certainly closing on what it means to have that power. The nimbleness of nuance and fluidity, the creativity of adaptation and experience. A mixture of everything he has known to form into something even more complex and fragile as the firearms he has dedicated his life to studying. Jack taught him a lot. His father taught him more. But what he's learning is more valuable than anything he's heard. Erevan is level 3. Karl. Karl's dream resumes precisely where he had last remembered being, on the lowest plateau on the ladder, yet the highest he has ever ascended. He grips the rock crags and moves diagonal to the next destination, a raging fire burning in his heart. As he maneuvers between the stone, an unexpected break nearly causes him to fall to the now bottomless canyon below. He hears the voices of the people that led him to the depths in the first place. Greta stabbing at his insecurities. Madrid constantly ensuring that he felt the cold eye of her judgment on his neck. And Flint, always an arm's length away and ready to collect his payments. He stumbles and nearly falls again as the image of Gemma flashes in his mind and fades. The one dwarf he wanted to see. Now, having been gone for so long, he can scarcely remember the sound of his voice. Karl continues upward and can nearly reach the next ledge, somewhere to rest and prepare. He feels for a moment that with a proper lunge, he may be able to make the distance. And with a mighty heave, a booming yell erupting from his throat, his leap is assuredly not enough. Mid-air, he knows there's nothing to grab, nothing to hold, and everything he fought for slipping from his grasp. Prepared to surrender to the darkness, he only gazes upwards towards the light. A thought breaks his focus just as quickly as the outreached arm that snatched him from certain despair jolts his body. There was no light down here. What he saw was not the sun, but a spiritual visage holding him aloft and pulling him to the safety of the ledge with ease. With neither word nor action, there is an immediate understanding between the mighty beards that face one another. Karl rests on an unbreakable foundation, one of family and heritage. He gazes at this strange, ghostly figure who only points upwards to reveal to Karl that upon each and every ledge, as far as he can see, there is another ancestral guardian waiting for him, calling to him, encouraging him. The figure that stands before him pounds his armor and nods to Karl, before turning and cupping his hands together provide a step for Karl to begin to climb again. Karl is now level 3. Each of you begin to wake in time in your own pace in the morning. You are all well rested. Your wounds have healed up nicely. Some bruising may remain. All bleeding has stopped. You feel stronger. Ready. You are together in the morning.
Elena's probably been up for a while,
Mm-hmm.
since I only need the 4 hours, so I'm probably out and in the tavern with a drink.
Yeah, so you guys can all meet out at a table. The elves have been up for a little while. There aren't many people around. There are just a couple. Not the shaded figures you guys had seen the night before don't seem to be around. But Afra is dancing and picking up plates as she goes.
So if the rest of the party is there, then I'm just gonna kind of say, well, should we head over to the university then and see if we can track down Karl? And
From what I heard, these owners, operators of this fine inn are somehow connected to the university. Maybe that might be a nice start to ask around.
Mhm.
I'd like to walk over to the one who's collecting dishes.
Yeah, if you between Signy trying to catch her, she's more just like she's very bubbly. She has a very bubbly personality as she moves effortlessly between the tables, like spinning around, but keeping everything in line, never dropping a cup. And I feel like Signy would be like he, instead of like meeting her somewhere where she's going, just literally just tailing her.
Yeah, exactly.
And eventually she sets everything down on the counter, and Afra who still has a big cigar, or sorry, Isabella, who has the cigar, points back, and she looks. Oh, what can I get for you? How was everything?
I don't need a drink or anything. I wanted to ask. So I'm staying with like a friend. His name. We're at the university. His name's Calvin. Have you seen him around, or do you know him?
Not if he's from the university. We're quite a ways away.
I mean, I've heard through various vines that you might know people there.
I used to be a professor. Yes.
Okay. He seems a little like unsure of himself, but he's like, do you know? There's some brothers that they're associated with the university. Sancho brothers.
It's been about 30 years since I cracked a book at the university.
Oh, you don't look a day over 70.
Thank you. And you can see Isabella. She like audibly puts the dishes behind the counter to start washing them. Blows a big old smoke ring.
Did your sister maybe know anything? She was a professor there too, I'm assuming.
We taught in tandem.
Oh, so it's been a long time for her too.
Yes.
All right. Well, I know where my room's at anyway. We'll just walk. It's fine.
Okay. Good luck. It's a cold one today.
Wait, what? It's what?
It's cold. Burr.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
no, I got
right.
a jacket.
You can't
Buddy of
see.
mine handed it to me. Not that I need it. I'm just just in case.
Well, you might need it. It's.
I'm good with the cold. Don't worry. I'm strong enough. It's fine. Thank you. And he walks away.
Yeah, and she like, if anybody was watching, she was very ready to just like keep the conversation going. Like, well, you might. Oh. You may. Okay.
Before he looked weak, he wanted to get out of there. He comes back to the rest of the group and says, well, they haven't been in the university in 30 some odd years, so not much info there. We could just head back to my room, see if Calvin's about. If not, maybe just ask around.
Your room would be a good place to start. And if he's there, we get lucky. If not, then we'll have to search.
I mean, he's just a beginning of the means to the end here. I don't know how much he actually knows, but he seems to know people at the university. I was just hoping he could give us a name. I mean, we don't have to find him. It's more of a, a nice start, I think. But we'll see if he's there.
I agree. So I guess if everyone's ready, let's head off to the university then.
All right.
Okay. Yes. As you guys begin to make your way to the Volley Tavern, you find the door in the space that brings you back to the streets, and you are immediately blasted with same cold, blustery air. Signy's very cold.
He puts like the jacket on like one of his shoulders. Like,
it's a little cold. Fine, I'll admit it. Yeah. You're all cold at this point. You do have some winter gear, but the wind is strong enough. It's whipping between the buildings where it's able to just find its way between some of the stitching, and where like buttons maybe aren't quite tight enough to really seal themselves over you guys. You can feel that wind, and then for those of you wearing the heavy armor, as soon as it gets to your armor, yeah, it's cold. But it sorry, I actually don't think I mentioned it at the start of the episode. You guys were beginning that session on the evening of July 5th, so today would be the 6th. For those of you keeping track. Signy is able to take you guys through the streets towards the west side of the city, closer towards the mountains. And those of you who are not familiar with the university are looking around, and you don't see a staircase. There doesn't seem to be a ladder ascending the mountains. And Signy, you know where to go. There are specific locations in the city where it's basically it's the same magic you guys have been seeing. You guys do eventually, as the closer you get towards the west side of the mountains, the architecture again begins to change, where most of it has been sometimes a hodgepodge material or carved from the stone. The architecture itself becomes more arched and elongated the further out you go. More of the architecture is circular rather than square, almost more Gothic in style. And as Signy takes you guys to the destination where it takes you up to the university, one of the Masonic defenders are here, and you can see he is looking at a list between a scarf that's covering up his eyes, and he pulls it down for just a second. Are you a student? Looking at Signy.
Not really. I've been staying here with my friend Calvin. The Sancho brothers let us stay.
Yeah, alright, that's good enough for me. Off you go, eh? And he opens the door for you. And as soon as you guys cross through this threshold, you are atop the Drake Crag Mountains, surrounded by the University of Camarilla. And I think that's where I want to stop for tonight's episode. I think that's a good spot to pick up for next time. That feels like a good spot. Yeah. So it will be kind of a hot minute before we play again. In 2 weeks, I will be unavailable for a session, and then 2 weeks after that, Jake, I know you said you might be out of town. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Hopefully that works for everybody else, and we can keep things moving along. That'll be the 23rd. So, to you guys, thank you for playing level 3. We're moving right along. Woo! We're at the university.
Yeah.
So to the stream, Matt, I saw you in there, so I'm glad you got to hear your level up story. Everybody else in the stream, thank you for stopping by. And Group 2, we'll be back next Friday. See you then.